Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. So here we are at tail end of Colorado's warmest winter on record, and there's growing potential for a major March heat wave. With the forecasted warm weather comes even more concern about our water supply. 9 News reporter Spencer Soisher joins us. And Spencer, Denver Water says the snowpack that supplies its water is in rough shape.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of these conversations right now. Denver Water says snowpack levels for its water supply are as low right now as they've ever been at this point in a year, and the incoming forecast may just ruin any progress that was made during last week's storms. We all know there are multiple false springs in Colorado.
It affects our soils because it really dries them out pretty quickly at that temperature.
But what about like a really false spring?
That's probably a good way to think of it, yeah.
Yeah, we got some snow last week, but CSU pedology professor Gene Kelly has seen the same mid-March forecast as you, and he doesn't feel good about it.
When you get warmer events, like if we get a week or two, that water will pretty much evaporate pretty quickly and the soils will remain dry.
Kelly says it's going to be a tough year for farmers who don't want dried out soil.
Any water that's there can be lost pretty we And then, of course, in our mountain areas, when we do have snowpack, it just melts too quickly. And so we don't get a real storage element of our water. It's sort of, we get more rapid runoffs and we get it at the wrong time.
Abnormally shallow and relatively warm.
Denver Water says while last weekend's storms brought a bunch of moisture to the area, more warm weather coming will do little to lift Denver Water's collection out of record low levels. Denver Water says we're approaching levels as bad as 2002.
Denver Water wants its customers to cut back water use by 30%.
2002 has been the low mark for snowpack, a year when drought conditions were so bad, Denver Water went into stage 2 restrictions, which limited how much watering people could do. It's something it's only implemented once since. And this really false spring won't help with that.
The growers I work with and at our research centers around the state, we're just planning for, the worst case scenario that we'll have low amounts of water for irrigation.
There's another element to this false spring. An urban farmer that I spoke with tonight said that his fruit trees are starting to bud and his honeybees are leaving the hive. He expects more of that to continue over the next couple of weeks. And then if a hard freeze comes, then you got to start everything back over again. Live in Denver, Spencer Soisher, 9 News.
Are we going to address that 2002 Kim Christensen, or what are we
No,
going to
we're
do?
not.
I love it.
Spencer did that just to annoy me.
The hair is
Mission
perfection.
accomplished.
I thought it was a good look, Kathy. I don't know.
Great look.
That was a good look.
Yep, I love it. You want
Okay, Kathy.
No, let's keep talking
Let's
about
not
it.
go back to 2002. Let's talk about the present. And right now, it's really dry and warm.
It is. Although, if you're standing outside right now, the wind is picking up out of the north. There is a cool front coming in. There's actually the chance of a few light showers tonight. It won't be a difference maker, but in the mountains, a little bit of snow. We'll take every inch we can get up there. And with the clouds that came in today ahead of this incoming system, we really had a beautiful sunrise and sunset. This picture coming in tonight from Tony in the Winter Park area. Temperatures are starting to cool. We're down to 42 now, and the winds are starting to increase out of the north and northeast. That cold front is moving through. It does have some moisture with it, so there may be some showers in Denver yet tonight. A little bit of snow in the mountains. We're seeing that on the radar right now. Wonderful news. The northern and central mountains have the best chance at seeing any of this precipitation, but Boulder, Broomfield, Denver up the I-76 corridor, there is the chance for a rain shower over the course of the next 3 hours. This system will wind down overnight. You are going to wake up to clear skies tomorrow, albeit a cooler day tomorrow as temperatures take a nosedive into the lower 30s. Coming up, we'll continue to track the incoming cold front and have more on the critical fire weather we're forecasting later in the week.
Today, a semi-truck drove clear into a convenience store in Littleton.
Over 24 people were inside the Quick Trip off Bellevue near Santa Fe. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause takes us there.
A trip to the gas station nearly cost a driver their life Tuesday after a truck came crashing into them, pushing their car into this Quick Trip off of Santa Fe in Littleton. For hours, crews worked to clear away the semi-truck and what remained of the sedan from the building. Matthew Ossel with South Metro Fire says this all happened around 1:30 when the semi came down Santa Fe, getting onto Bellevue and off the road, coming to a stop in this gas station and pushing the car in with it. with the driver inside.
I don't know if they had just came in or were leaving the store, but they were in the vehicle. The vehicle was pushed into that building. They were pinned inside.
Littleton police and bystanders pulled the person from the car. The driver was taken to the hospital. The semi-driver refused medical treatment, according to South Metro Fire. There were 5 employees and about 24 customers inside Quick Trip when the car came into the building, but no one else was hurt.
Could have been much worse depending the direction that the semi-truck was traveling. It could have struck other vehicles as well. Obviously, this isn't a good situation in and of itself, but it is good. But the fact that only one vehicle was struck is definitely the best outcome.
At the gas station, Ossel says technical rescue teams worked to stabilize the building. Both the car and semi were removed and towed away.
The building is being boarded up and the gas station will be closed indefinitely after the crash. The cause is still under investigation. In Littleton, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
A police shooting inside Swedish hospital last week happened after a suspected car thief tried to grab an officer's gun. At least that's what a source is telling 9 News investigates. A Cherry Hills Village police officer brought a woman identified in court documents as 37-year-old Tara Studer to the hospital last Thursday. Studer had some kind of unspecified medical issue after she was taken into custody. A source familiar with the investigation says after the handcuffs were taken off, she tried to grab the officer's gun and threatened to kill the officer. The officer shot her, injuring her. Once Studer's well enough, she's expected to be charged not only with the suspected car theft, but for what happened there at the hospital. The shooting's being investigated by a multi-agency team. Once that's complete, the Arapahoe County District Attorney's Office will make the determination on whether that police shooting was legally justified.
A federal judge overseeing a high-profile immigration case says he's been doxxed. U.S. District Judge R. Brooke Jackson says his photo and his home address were posted online. He disclosed that in court today while presiding over a hearing to determine whether ICE agents are violating his court order governing warrantless arrests. Those are when ICE agents arrest someone other than the person they're targeting. Because of the doxing, Jackson allowed 3 ICE agents who testified to be identified only by their initials, even though the hearing was open to the public. In November, Judge Jackson issued a preliminary injunction requiring ICE to know the following before warrantless arrest: probable cause, the person is in violation of U.S. immigration laws, and that the person is being arrested is likely to escape before a warrant can be obtained. There's no ruling yet as to whether ICE violated that order. The hearing continues tomorrow.
One of the largest meatpacking plants in America is preparing for its workers to walk off the job. JPS says that if a strike shuts down their plant in Greeley, they will just move production elsewhere until workers return. The center of this dispute are what the union calls unfair labor practices, like employees paying to replace personal protective equipment. They also cite low wage increases, arguing that the company puts profits over worker safety.
They want to speak up and show them that they're worth more than just the meat that they're cutting or the cows that they're killing.
JBS disputes the workers' claims, said that they've offered what they see as adequate raises and a fair deal that the union is not letting members weigh in on. The strike is scheduled to begin Monday morning at 5:30 if there's no agreement before that point.
Erica Kirk has a new position. President Trump just tapped the widow of conservative activist Charlie Kirk to join the U.S. Air Force Academy Board of Visitors. Kirk will hold one of 16 seats on that board, which includes Republican and Democratic lawmakers and a retired Air Force colonel. The group ultimately makes Air Force Academy recommendations to the president and defense secretary. Erica Kirk's late husband, Charlie Kirk, had been appointed by Trump to serve on the board in March of 2025. He attended one meeting in August before his assassination.
Colorado DMV is warning of a sophisticated new scam making the rounds as people get texts and emails that claim they owe money to the state. The messages claim you have unpaid tickets or unresolved violations. They threaten to take away driving privileges, suspend vehicle registration, or even criminal prosecution. The messages include a link to a website that's designed to look like an official state portal. I promise you, it is not. If you get one of those messages, don't click anything. They're trying to get your info. You can reach out to the DMV if you have questions.
Aurora is creating a new license that puts restrictions on businesses that sell tobacco, kratom, and age-restricted hemp. The City Council officially passed that into law in a unanimous vote last night. The license requires businesses that sell any of those products to be 1,500 feet from schools. There are also distance requirements from other stores of the same kind. The license costs $500 a year. With the 340 current spots that sell tobacco, Aurora stands to bring in $170,000 annually. The city could bring in much more with fines that start at $1,000 for the first violation. Existing businesses will not have to abide by the new distance restrictions. They'll be grandfathered in. The opioid overdose reversing drug Narcan is now available outside of the Loveland Police Department. The agency installed the kiosk right there that provides the medication for free a few months ago. They say in that short time, they've already given away hundreds.
CVS plans to roll out a new digital platform powered by AI. It's called Health 100. Google Cloud will team up with CVS to provide this service free to customers. Companies say it will act like a personal health assistant, providing users with information about drug costs and medical benefits. CVS says it will offer recommendations and expert guidance for patients on their health. The company says it hopes to have Health 100 out sometime this year.
Denver will use artificial intelligence in hopes of speeding up the city's permitting process. This week, the City Council approved a contract with Comply AI. Their program, CivCheck, is supposed to make the application intake and code compliance review processes faster. Some City Council members expressed concern about the accuracy of AI, but they ultimately approved the initial investment of just over $1 million in a 10-to-1 vote. If the city chooses, they could add AI capabilities and spend up to $4.6 million over 5 years.